I'm being stretched, number one, if I'm being challenged to obey instructions when I don't understand. I'm being stretched if I'm being challenged to obey instructions when I don't understand. Did you see the way Peter wrestled with that? He's like, Master, okay, this doesn't make any sense to me. We worked hard all last night and didn't catch a thing. And I kind of know what I'm doing. But I'm going to go ahead and do it. I give Peter props for going solely on the basis of Jesus' word. Guys, if you're going to walk with Jesus, see, that's what Coach Jesus is teaching right now. He's really not teaching Peter about his own personal fulfillment. He's not. He's teaching him, Peter, this is how you walk with me. You sometimes have to obey things that you don't understand why I'm telling you to do this. And Peter obeys, and I give him props. Now, did you notice, with regard to the faith realm, this is so powerful. Peter didn't even necessarily believe anything was going to happen. Right? It wasn't like he was saying, I'm a big man of faith. I believe for those nets of fish. Like, look at that. My faith did that. It really wasn't. It was his action that he took in response to Jesus' command. Right? It wasn't because he was a great man of faith. Unless by faith you mean taking action in response to Jesus' command. See, some of us, you look at like, I don't have much faith. I always doubt. And you've got like maybe a little mustard seed of faith. But precious, I want to tell you, you don't need anything more than a little mustard seed of faith. What we really need to do more often than trying to like gird up some emotional faith is just do what Jesus says. And see what He can do with our little mustard seed of faith. You and I have got to be willing to follow Jesus, whatever He asks of us. And see, this is where the paradigm shift is coming for Peter, okay? Because that's a little funny. This is supposed to be a little bit humorous, that the rabbi is telling the fishermen how to fish. There's an irony there. And what we're supposed to learn from that, guys, is that Jesus is in charge of His own mission. Jesus calls the shots. Jesus doesn't need to take direction from Peter. Jesus gives direction to Peter. Guys, Jesus is in charge of the mission of your life. Jesus knows what to do. And it's His mission. And even if you don't know it yet or not, we believe, Christians believe, you belong to Him and He's got the best, highest purpose for your life. And it's okay to mess that up sometimes and to miss that, but you just gotta know He's going to stretch you. And if you have been challenged recently to do something when you don't understand it, to on account of His Word, to go ahead and do something you don't understand, I just want to encourage you that you are in the right place. See, Jesus knows that we often think a whole lot about what we think. We think we're pretty doggone smart. Well, I think I know what I'm doing. I think I've got my act together. And I'm not saying you don't ever know what you're doing. But there's a place of trust where we say, Lord, I trust You despite what I think I know. I'm losing confidence in self. What happened to Peter right there? Dude, he lost all confidence in himself. In 5 minutes, Jesus did what he could never do, and Jesus isn't even a fisherman. Right? I mean, he would have had some pretty doggone fierce bragging rights if he would have brought that in by himself. But Jesus just like, dude, everything you're trying to do, all your big, powerful goals that you think are so awesome, I can do them like that. I'm in charge of the mission, Jesus says. All I need you to do is sometimes step out. Just obey my commands when you don't understand. And guys, stepping out is a good way to describe that, because sometimes it is. It's like stepping out. I don't really know what's going to happen when I do this. But I just sense that I'm supposed to as maybe I hear something at Torch, or I'm at a Torch group, or I'm studying the Bible and certain themes continue to pop up. I'm stretched in faith. Some of you, it was a big step of faith for you to come here, and I want to applaud you for that. Way to go. Others of you, it might be that you're being led to start coming to a Torch group. And that's a big step of faith for you. Man, you've been hurt. You're like, God, I've been through this. I already know what this is like. I know all about that. I don't need another opportunity to get hurt. And yet, He's going to challenge you. You could be like, I worked all night, God. And yet Jesus is going to push you into stepping out. Moses had to step out. Moses was an old man now. He's 80 years old. He's done with adventures. And now when all he is nothing but a shepherd man, he's no longer the prince of Egypt, he doesn't have any power, and now this burning bush shows up and God's like, alright, so yeah, I got about 1 million people waiting for you to go get them. He's like, God, I'm not it. I don't know what you're thinking. I'm not young, I'm not sexy, I'm not, I don't look like Charleston Heston at all, man. I got a bad back and I need some Ben Gay. Lord, I don't want to go. You got the wrong guy. I was like, no, I think this will work. I think this will be great. I think this will show off my power and not show off you. I think it's going to be awesome. What about Joshua? Man, it must have been hard for Joshua to replace Moses. When I think of it, Joshua came after Moses. Here's this great Moses, done all these signs and wonders, but mostly on a lot of levels, he was doing a lot of babysitting. I mean, that's what Moses has been doing for the past 40 years now. When Joshua is finally ready to take the reins, he's been babysitting these crying, whining Israelites. Joshua's got to go to war. Joshua's got to go into this land, and real people are going to die. And he's got to step out. He's got to do it, maybe whether or not he understands. And so the Lord repeats to him again and again in the book of Joshua, be strong and very courageous. Be strong and very courageous. I'm calling you to do this, Joshua. Be strong and very courageous. And that's when it's a little harder. When your obedience has impact on other people. Ooh, that's another level. That's hard. And Joshua stepped up to the plate. Guys, for some of us, it's more of a faithfulness obedience. I mean, that's exciting. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I want to be a Moses. Yeah, let's see some fire come from the sky, and I want to turn all the frogs loose on the city. But when it's day by day faithfulness, when it's just, God, here's the deal. I'm going to raise this baby. I'm going to go ahead and be faithful. For the next 18 years, I'm going to step out in faith every day. Because I believe it's what you're calling me to do. And check it. It's not what I particularly wanted to do. In your face, enemy. I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. Lord, I don't have enough money to go back to school. I don't have the time to do it. And yet, I keep sensing you leading me to go ahead and apply for these scholarships. I don't even like school. And it's going to take me a long time to do it. And yet, that's where stepping out would happen. Is when I boldly and radically believe in your face. This doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I don't know why the Lord would want me to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. And see what He does with it. Sometimes it even looks like it's going to be unfruitful, just like it did for Peter. He's like, this isn't going to, dude, what? I just did this. This isn't going to work. And sometimes, guys, it doesn't seem like it's going to provide any practical benefit for us to go ahead and obey God. I want to challenge you, even if it doesn't make any sense, to just go ahead and do it. Sometimes, dude, you just got to ask the girl out. I think she'll say no. Just ask her anyway, man. If the Lord's leading you to do it, just do it. Right? Hey, man, at least you'll get better at it, okay? You won't, right? I mean, if she says no 100 times, just pay attention, keep a journal. Don't do that anymore, right? But some of us, it's be intentional with that Facebook friend you have that's an old high school buddy. Turns out they live around the corner. And you could go out for breakfast with them. You could see what God might do in a situation like that through that relationship. Others of us, just serving. Just giving ourselves to building up people. Maybe through Torch, maybe through some other volunteer capacity in the community where we say, you know what? I wasn't made to just sit here. I sense the Lord wants to use me in greater ways. And so I have my high ideas of what that might look like. But you know what? I'm just going to toss my net over. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just going to step into it. Guys, some of us, I want to challenge you, man. You've been here long enough. You need to get in the army of the Lord. I know that your keister is nice and cushy on that seat, but honey, we need you to get up and roll up your sleeves. There's a lot of people to help. And so I say that respectfully, but I say it lovingly. But I say it fiercely, dude, we got to do it. There's all kinds of help that we could use. Some of you, you've got video skills. Others of you, you know how to throw stuff around. You could help us on the trailer team. Others of us, you could get on the lit team or in the lobby team. You could just greet. You never know what God will do eventually if you just start where you are. And now just listen to me because I know there's people watching by video, there's people listening by podcast. Here's part of the problem. You want something glitzy. You want something important sounding. That's just not the way it works in the kingdom. Everybody wants to know how great you are. Let's see you take a towel and wash somebody's feet. Let's find out, okay? Let's see what you do with it, okay? Because we can trust people like that. But if you just want a big, highlight, name in the spotlight kind of thing, it doesn't help anybody. And it's not that they won't even come. You just have to start where you are. Well, sometimes it's by stepping out, and sometimes it's by stepping back. That's how we trust God when we don't understand. Jesus was being arrested, right in Matthew 26. And his disciples begin to fight for him. He's like, what are you guys doing? Don't you know I can call angels here in a second and they wipe these dudes out? But I'm not doing anything because I trust God. This is what is supposed to happen. And guys, sometimes it takes a whole lot of in-your-face faith to not try to control the situation, to not try to take the reins, to stay out of your adult children's business. Sometimes it takes more self-control and more trust, more faith when you quit nagging and just give it to Jesus. Jesus, I'm throwing my net over. You do whatever you want, but I'm staying out of it. It was so hard. Guys, for 10 years before we started this church, I kept sensing from the Holy Spirit. I'm not trying to freak out or anything, but He was speaking clearly to my heart. You're going to start a church. You're going to build a church. You guys are going to have a church in my name. It's going to be the church that you wanted. It's going to be the church that you're going to love. And guys, at the stage I was at, in the woundedness that I was at, and in the different job situations I was at, I was like, Lord, there's no way to do that. I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't know. And it was almost frustrating for me because I was trying to not do anything. But it was a tremendous step of faith again and again as my wife Mackenzie and I would come back in prayer and say, okay, God, if that's what you want to do, then you do it. Because there's nothing for us to do. We can't meddle with anything. We're just going to sit still and allow you to do it. And at the right time, it changed from a step back to step out. And that takes a lot of patience. It takes a lot of prayer time. But what does that look like for you? What does it look like for you in the job that you're in when you're just like, oh, I hate this job. And you walk in every Monday through Friday and your face melts because of the people you have to be around. And you hear the same dumb conversations again and again every day. I know it's hard. Is the Lord calling you to have patience? And what that looks like sometimes is just go ahead and decide I'm going to grow in this place that I'm at. I want what I want, but I trust God in your face while I sit here and I prepare and I keep growing. Well, here's a second way we know if we are growing or not. I'm pressed to admit I am needful instead of sufficient. I'm pressed to admit I'm needful instead of sufficient. It takes a whole lot of humility to do what Peter did. He fell to his knees, man. He got it. It went from master to Lord. He dropped to his knees and said, oh, okay. I wasn't recognizing, Coach, Jesus, I don't even know why you're here. I'm a sinful man. I'm getting awareness. When I see who you really are, I begin to see me for what I really am. And it causes me brokenness. It causes me to fall to my knees and say, Lord, my delusions are crumbling. I need you to get away from me because I'm not worthy to be around you. And guys, I want to challenge you. That's the place to start. That's the right place. That's seeing things rightly as they are. And just understand, this is what we do as humans. We try to make God in our own image. We make God like we want Him to be. We say, oh, He's probably a lot like our current 21st century American values. Nope. That's you making God in your image. Jesus is who He is. And when we're really seeing Jesus, we bow our knees and say, Lord, you are God. You are the boss of the show. You tell me what for. Guys, it's a little deeper than that. What Peter is saying is, Lord, I'm as likely to screw up your will as get it right. I couldn't do that. I couldn't make all those fish get in there. You can do things all by yourself. Guys, this is the place of humility where we realize, and I mean this tenderly, Jesus doesn't need us. Jesus loves you, and Jesus wants to be with you forever. But do you really think Jesus needs you for His plan? Like, for real? He doesn't. Here's the real truth. And I'm just giving you some medicine as a pastor. This isn't to speak down to you. What it is to give you some heart medicine. The truth is, on this side of the world, someday, somebody's going to mow the grass over your grave. And the last person who ever knew anything about you is going to breathe their last. And you will not even be remembered on the planet. Most likely. Unless you happen to be a president or somebody else like that. Do you remember who was around 300 years ago? Does anybody? Do you hear what I'm screaming? Our only plan must be to get in Jesus' will. Now, in heaven, you'll be able to tell the stories. You'll be able to share, and lots of folks will know you. And as the millennia roll on, you'll have great relationships with all kinds of people. But if you're trying to make a name for yourself down here, baby, that name will smudge out. It's pointless. What we need to do is say, Jesus, you are the man with the plan. And all my big plans need to come under yours.